I'm Ross Kemp. I've always had an affinity with the ocean, and in particular, shipwrecks.
This is a proper shipwreck.
Many of my ancestors served at sea.
This is very much like the one that my grandfather drove during the Second World War.
Some were shipwrecked, and some sadly lost their lives.
They're ready to go to war, and out of nowhere, this tremendous explosion.
Now I'm a qualified commercial diver, and in this series, I will be traveling further and diving deeper than ever before.
It's critical in this time that we're all on our game.
Helped by my trusted dive team,
How good was that?
It was one of the best dives I've ever had.
I'm going to plunge into lost worlds
Oh, wow.
to find clues
It is a treasure trove of Second World War history.
and recover treasure.
So this could be a piece of Mary Rose.
I'll reveal how these ships went down
Why's she under the sea?
Well, that's for you boys to discover, isn't it?
and unlock some of our greatest maritime mysteries.
Is this potentially a new wreck?
That's what I think.
The pressure is intense and the stakes are high.
Valerie, where are you? Ross, you need to come up. Ross! Can anyone hear me?
As I become a deep-sea treasure hunter. In this episode,
Oh, amazing to see.
my quest for artifacts reaches new heights.
Definitely silver.
As I head to Suez in Egypt to search for relics of empire.
You get sharks, yeah?
Whoa. Sharks? What kind of sharks?
Get into the belly of a ship and run into some serious trouble.
Oh, I need to go, mate.
Last time I dived on the wreck site of the Mary Rose in Portsmouth. She sank in 1545, and this marked the beginning of a global maritime expansion. Within 200 years, Britain would be the most dominant country on the planet.
Wow, so this could be a piece of Mary Rose.
And there was one port in particular that was central to Britain's military, trade, and expeditionary operations. Plymouth.
From the Bronze Age, the Roman invasion, the Norman conquest, the defeat of the Spanish Armada, and the sailing of the Pilgrim Fathers, Plymouth has shaped British history.
Ever since Sir Francis Drake set out to circumnavigate the globe in 1577, Plymouth has been Britain's maritime launch pad to the Atlantic and beyond. As a result, it has more shipwrecks in one place than almost anywhere else in the world. It's a rich treasure hunting ground, and I'm hoping to find relics of past glories that tell us more about its role at the height of empire.
Well, it's a really nice day for it.
Joining me is maritime archaeologist Mallory Hass, an expert in these waters, alongside my regular dive buddy Mark Culwick and legendary dive master Neil Brock.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, shipmates.
Hello.
Everyone good?
Yeah, good day for it.
Ready to set the sea?
Let's go, mate.
Let's get on.
We're heading out into Plymouth Sound, a deep inlet in the English Channel, said to be one of the world's greatest natural harbours. Since control of the channel has long been critical to Britain's national security, Plymouth Sound's safe anchorage makes it a prime strategic location.
So I brought this along, and this is the chart of Plymouth from the 1690s.
Right.
This is coastline. You see all,
Oh, right.
and that is the anchorage. And then anchorages are also where you'd find lots of material dumped overboard because the ships have been moored up there. And sailors aren't really known for being tidy. And the easiest thing to do is to throw it overboard.
As well as its strategic military importance, Plymouth has been at the heart of Britain's trade for a millennium. Wool, grain, coal, and even people during Britain's appalling slavery era have been moved to and from this port.
I know it's not going to be precise, but if you had to hazard a guess, how many wrecks do you reckon there are in this bay?
So within Plymouth Sound, we know the names of 700 wrecks.
700.
700.
That's known.
Yes,
So what would you do on top of that?
at least 1,000.
So if we find nothing, how bad have we done?
You're terrible. I'm a spidge magnet.
You won't be getting back on board.
She is a speech magnet.
Don't come up until you got something.
Spidge is a diver's term used to mean anything metal that is valuable. But in our case, we mean anything that has historical importance. Because of the ceaseless movements of the tides and passing ships, any treasure will likely be buried. So, we brought along some underwater metal detectors.
How deep do you think we'll have to dig?
About 20 centimeters.
I don't know, far.
It's time to get kitted up.
How's that feel?
Lovely.
All right, Mal. How's that feel, Mal? Stand by then.
This is a proper treasure hunt.
Okay. Where you go? Where you go?
Got it. Valerie, can you hear me? Next to you.
15 meters down, and we're on the seabed. And almost immediately it's clear we are staring at an extraordinary record of Plymouth's rich history.
Oh, look at that! Did you find that all on your own? Look at
That rubbish or what?
really nice. There's pottery. Another loose bit of material on the surface, which does explain a lot about this being a Royal Navy anchorage.
Objects are popping up all over the place. It's our job to sort out the historical wheat from the chaff.
You can see how there's just stuff everywhere here.
Oh. Pipe. Uh-oh.
But Mallory's metal detector is giving her an indication of something far more significant.
Ross, there's definitely something right here. There's all kinds of like different anomalies.
My detector has also located something buried.
Very careful. Look, 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 look. 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 It's got a shot.
Wow, I like it. A large musket ball.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll find
Oh, look, 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 look,
Oh,
look, look,
wow.
look. It's a ship's spike. It's a ship's spike. It's copper.
Amazing how something so simple can give you that amount of pressure.
The musket ball and copper ship's nail could date from the 19th century or even earlier. They aren't the kind of thing any self-respecting sailor would throw overboard.
Ross,
And neither is Mallory's next find.
Ross, it's silver.
What is it?
It's silver. It's a silver coin.
Really? Oh, wow. Definitely silver.
Yes! Silver looks like that when it comes out.
It would appear that Mallory's actually found a silver coin, which is genuine treasure. Real treasure.
These objects couldn't have been dropped here randomly. There's something else going on here.
Ross, I think we found something. I think this is a shipwreck.
2 more minutes, Ross. 2 more minutes, mate.
Our air is running low, and reluctantly, we return to the surface.
That was an amazing dive.
Our excitement is palpable.
You well, bud?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
There you go, Mal.
Thank you.
You well?
Oh yeah.
Right, let's have a look at our find.
So when we first got down there, you could see that there was some stuff on the surface. We found.
On the bottom, let's look at some man the beast.
No, not unless it's full. That's been
So,
down a while. Look at
yeah.
that thickness.
So you this is the type of thing I would expect to be thrown overboard.
Lazy sailors.
Yeah.
Bit of piping.
Yep. We found.
Oh, yeah. Clay pipe.
And then you found that blue and white.
I'm pretty sure that comes from my mum's kitchen.
So that's a little bit older.
Yeah.
These items could have come from anywhere. But it's the objects that we found below the seabed that suggest this might be the site of an actual shipwreck.
And then.
Oh, now we're talking. We can weigh that in. That's non-ferrous. Copper nails, isn't it?
See? But I don't think this is used. See the little paddle at the end?
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks unused to me. And then the shot that we found, the lead shot is unused.
Musket shot, yeah.
Yeah. And then.
Look, there's the big. There's
Oh,
the biggie.
oh, now we're talking.
Doesn't look like much, but you're convinced that's silver, yeah?
I'm convinced that's silver, yes. Yeah, see? You can see the silver there. It's shiny. The surface is a bit eroded, but it's not like the traditional silver that you sometimes see. They're called silver riders, and the edges are like printed on the side. And this, I think, is before that. So I think it's quite old.
If there's nothing on it that actually can identify it, is there another way of actually dating it?
We can get a diameter off of it, and we can weigh it, and we could probably get like a date range for it. But it's definitely silver.
So what this tells me is this is not a rubbish tip. It's not a spoil ground. This is an actual wreck, and what you're finding is genuinely from a wreck, not discarded stuff.
No, all the stuff that we found is stores, and probably the silver coin is part of that mixture of what we're finding. That was all at least 20 centimeters under the seabed.
So, is this potentially a new wreck?
That's what I think. I think that this is a new wreck, but we're going to have to spend a lot more time kind of investigating this, because most wrecks that are this old are debris trails.
Yeah.
And we need to find out where is like the center of this material coming from.
When a ship sinks, it rarely goes down exactly where it got into trouble. Often, it struggles along, desperately trying to stay afloat. By following the trail of objects and plotting its possible trajectory, we may find its final resting place.
Get back in, kids.
Back we go.
We're soon back in the water, and the evidence for a new wreck starts piling up. But then, the dive goes horribly wrong.
Mark, I need to go, mate.
We're diving in the waters of Plymouth Sound, one of the most important harbours in British maritime history. On our first dive, we found centuries-old treasure.
It's silver!
What is it?
The silver coin!
That we believe is from a shipwreck never discovered before.
Is this potentially a new wreck?
That's what I think.
We've plotted the path that we think the floundering ship may have taken.
If we're to follow a debris trail, where are we going next?
Yeah, I should try to get into shallower water, so I think we should head that way.
And are diving where we believe the wreck might lie, in the hope we can find more evidence. And once again, it's immediately clear that we're onto something.
Talk check, Ross can hear you clear, over.
What did you find?
Alright, this is big. Alright.
Digging through the silt, we soon uncover what looks to be part of a ship.
Definitely part of a ship. It's a large iron concretion, but I just have to take a photo of it. It's gonna have to stay here. It's too big to lift.
It's a large piece of iron that has broken down over centuries and is now covered in concretion. It could be significant, so Mallory measures it and marks down the location.
So we can leave that here, yeah?
Surface now. Gas check.
Neil, I have 150.
150.
120 bar over.
Understood.
Just a few feet away from the metal concretion, my metal detector picks up something else.
There it is.
There's something down here.
There it is.
Can't get to it, it's too deep.
It's a big thing of something lead. It's lead tingle. Bottom of a ship.
There. There.
This heavy lead tingle buried in the seabed can only have come from a shipwreck. This is the evidence we're looking for. Desperately, we try to wrench it free.
2 more minutes, Ross. 2 more minutes, mate.
But our frantic digging is exerting too much energy. It's a situation I was warned about in my training a few weeks before. The dangers of what is known as brass fever.
You know what the form is, you've got to keep your eye on that gauge.
Yeah. Always come up with 100, yeah?
Yeah.
Depending how interesting the wreck is. And that's what happens, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what people
yeah,
do.
you
It's a
get carried
mistake
away.
a lot. Even the most experienced make that mistake.
Brass fever.
Brass fever. If you see something you want down there,
Yeah, I know a couple of boys who've overstayed their welcome, run low on gas, and haven't been able to do their stops on the way up.
got bent.
Next thing you know, they're off on a helicopter somewhere.
And we're getting brass fever right now. In our excitement at having possibly found the new wreck, we've forgotten that we are 15 meters underwater. Suddenly, Mallory stops digging and tries to take control of her breathing.
That's your CO2 over.
I call out to Mark, our safety diver, to help her. And then I start to feel a shortness of breath too.
Mark, I need to go, mate.
Our efforts have trapped too much carbon dioxide in our face masks. Dive Master Neil is clear that something has gone wrong and starts to try to talk us back to the surface. We are able to get our breathing back under control and the danger passes.
Surface Neil, yes, Ross and I are good. We're on a 3-minute stop.
But the decompression stop feels like an eternity. I'm relieved to be out of the water.
Nice one, buddy. You managed that all right? Still here. Let's get her back in board and then we can sort her out.
We are both shaken.
I ran out of breath. If you catch my breath. which is why I kind of had to breathe over there.
Is there much of a tide down there?
Yeah.
So you're working hard?
Yeah.
That's a good show back, mate.
I was alright, I just reeled myself in.
Any treasure, that's the important stuff.
Oh, no, just leave it down there. It's way too big. Need a lifting bag.
Way too big here for your lungs, eh?
So that comes from the overexertion of being underwater. We got carried away, didn't we, lifting that bit of lead out?
Yeah.
We haven't really returned with any treasure, but we've certainly found a lot down there.
Yes, we did. So we found that massive iron concretion.
That we both got up,
Yeah.
which knackered us both.
Yes, which we we did that, which was already hard work, and then we found something else quite close to it, which was deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Neil, what do you do? What are we supposed to do? Work smart, not hard.
Brass fever, it's called.
That's exactly what we had.
Brass fever.
We had brass.
You get stuck into the job thinking just a little bit longer we'll find something. Before you know what's what, you're low on gas, you've got a tide to swim back into. But the bottom line is, collectively as a team, you dealt with a problem. And that's all that matters, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a friendly environment. That's what all your training's about, isn't it?
It's certainly the bottom of a ship there.
Yeah.
That's certainly the bottom of the ship. That's the biggest piece of tingle, and tingle is something that is it's flat and lead, and if you saw the big holes in it,
It's where it's nailed to the wood.
it's where it's nailed to the wood, and it was also it was used, and it was bent like that from wrecking.
So that is the bottom of a boat. The wood's gone, but that lead is still there.
And then underneath that tingle was an entire layer of black. So there's probably more underneath that.
So when was tingle used?
1690s, you see it. We see it on Coronation, which is just up there. So that's about the time period that we're thinking about now.
1690.
Yeah.
1690s would date the wreck to just after Britain's so-called Glorious Revolution and the overthrow of King James II by his daughter Mary and her husband, the Dutch King William of Orange. This new wreck could well have been a trading vessel travelling from Plymouth to Britain's imperial outposts in Asia via Africa's southern tip. It would take around 6 months if, of course, you managed to successfully navigate the stormy seas around the Cape of Good Hope. It was used for almost 200 years until 1869, when the Suez Canal was opened and trade with the empire was transformed. In fact, my great-grandfather was one of those merchant seamen who made use of the new route through the canal. And that's where I'm heading next. To dive on some of the most spectacular shipwrecks in the world.
We're actually inside the hull of the ship now.
After a difficult dive on a new wreck site in Plymouth Harbour,
An indefinite part of a ship.
I'm heading to the Egyptian port of Hurghada on the shores of the Red Sea.
The Red Sea is an ancient trade route connecting Europe, Africa, and Asia. It became vital to British colonial ambitions after the building of the Suez Canal. But it's important to me for other reasons. My great-grandfather sailed these waters as a merchant seaman, and my grandfather helped defend them during the Second World War against the Nazis.
The Suez Canal stretches 120 miles, connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea. And when it opened in 1869, it had an immediate and dramatic effect on world trade. In particular, it radically changed the prosperity of the British Empire, halving the journey time to and from India. Today, the Suez Canal is one of the world's busiest trade routes, with around 10% of all global trade passing through the canal. The Red Sea isn't only busy, it's big. And the wrecks are miles apart, So I'm going to be spending the next week living on this dive boat. Once again, my team are here to join me.
You looking forward to a good week?
Lovely to be here, absolutely fantastic.
Good, good. We got all the gear.
Yeah.
All we got to do is put it together.
Our first destination are the reefs off the southern tip of the Sinai Peninsula on the entrance to the Gulf of Suez and the approach to the canal.
So we're up here.
Yeah. Any idea, Neil, how many wrecks there are at the entrance to the canal?
If I had to hazard a guess, hundreds. What you have is these outcrops of reef that are either just below the surface or sticking up maybe a couple of feet. But if they're not lit, you'd have been steaming down here in the dark, in the night, in a sailing boat. End of sports. You'd end up on the bottom. You'd be seeing a few.
The next day, we arrive near to one of the wrecks we plan on diving. This will be the first time I've made a dive since we ran into difficulties in Plymouth Harbour.
Mark, I need to go, mate.
To help regain my confidence, Neil decides I should do a shakedown dive.
But this first dive, what's really important for us is to get you back on the horse after our little escapade when you guys got brass fever in Plymouth. So it's a nice, sheltered, easy dive.
It feels just like Plymouth.
Yeah, it's just a bit hotter, isn't it?
And the visibility compared to...
Well, you'll have to close one eye. It's going to be that good, mate. You're going to have to swim around. That's it. And that causes problems as well, mate, because the visibility's so good that you don't realise how deep you are. And
so
obviously,
you've got to keep
exactly, yeah, you've got to keep an eye on the gas, your bottom time. It can lead you astray really, really quickly. 30 metres here seems like 10 metres in the UK. So you've got to keep your wits about you still.
Imagine that.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork to fill in if I don't bring you back.
Thanks for that. Neil and the team are here to keep us safe, but there are other dangers in the Red Sea that I haven't encountered before.
You get sharks here, you get a lot of stuff, fire coral, all sorts of things.
Whoa. Sharks? What kind of sharks?
You'll get oceanic whitetips,
Yep.
and they can be really canny fish, you know. The vast majority of sharks will swim up a little bit inquisitive, and then they'll swim past you, and the next one will come. Oceanic whitetips will swim past you, turn around, and come and have a look from behind. And that suggests they're a very clever animal to me.
Globally, in 2022, only 9 people were killed by sharks. However, 2 of those deaths occurred here in the Red Sea.
And whilst generally they're not dangerous per se, if we give them plenty of space, they'll give us plenty of space.
On that note, it's time to get suited up. And I don't mind admitting, I'm slightly apprehensive.
Primary's back on. Switch blocks reset. Good to go, man. Just put a bit of gas in there. Okay, now it's going to be heavy when you get up, yeah?
The Red Sea is much saltier than British waters, so I have to carry more in the way of weight.
Yes. Can you help him, guys?
Thanks.
Those are his fins there.
He's heavy, he's going to have to...
Ross! Surface to Ross, comms check. Yeah, got you loud and clear.
Travelling down the shot line, I focus on my breathing. When I finally feel comfortable, I start to look around.
It is a different world to diving in the UK, isn't it?
That's what the rapture of the deep looks like. You can see how Jacques Cousteau would get lost in a place like this.
You may not be diving on a wreck, but this coral reef is spectacular.
Let's pick up one more. That's it. Nice one, mate. Bit more. You got it. Well done. Nice one, buddy. Well done. Heavy kit, isn't it? Let's get you up.
That's better.
Yep.
So, first time back in the water after a bit, and yeah, once you've had an incident, it does play on your mind, despite the fact that it's absolutely fantastic down there. So yeah, good to be back. But yeah, the little shake-up that we had in Plymouth is still very much on my mind. But so far, so good.
With my shakedown dive out of the way, I'm ready for my first wreck dive. And this one is a bit of a tight fit.
I've got eyes on the entrance, over. Amazing to be inside a wreck this old.
I'm in the Red Sea on a treasure hunt for shipwrecks that tell the story of Britain's imperial trading routes. Currently, we are moored on the southern tip of the Shahab Mahmud Reef in the mouth of the Gulf of Suez. All ships making their way up the Suez Canal have to pass this point, but many have struggled to navigate its treacherous reefs.
Well, we're here now, Neil. I mean, there's a reef. We're moored just off a reef.
Yep.
I mean, are we talking thousands of submerged reefs in the Red Sea?
Oh, yeah, loads and loads of reefs, literally thousands. And they just pop up maybe a foot below the level of the sea. There's very little tide here.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got a sharp lookout, and especially in the days before we had lighthouses and navigation lights, it would be so
And also
easy.
radar.
Yeah, yeah.
The first wreck we are planning to dive is the SS Dunraven, a sail and steamship that was one of the first to use the Suez Canal when it opened. In 1876, she was on her way back from India to Britain, carrying wool, cotton and spices, when she was wrecked on her way up to the canal. Unfortunately, the Dunraven's young captain didn't live up to his name.
Well, he was very inexperienced. He was 23 when he got his master. The Captain Care.
Captain Care? Didn't take a lot of care of his name, did he?
So no, he was 23 when he got his master's certificate.
So he was a young man.
Yes.
He's 23 years old. He's got his master's, and he sailed a boat all the way through the newly built Suez Canal. He's got it all the way to India. He's got it nearly all the way back, and then he wrecks the ship.
Yes.
But there's a mystery. The wreck of the 81-metre Dunraven is entirely upside down, which means to find out what happened to it, we'll have to get inside the ship and fin up through the superstructure. We'll need to go in one at a time to ensure we don't get snagged and trapped inside.
Do you want air in or out of your jacket? Out. Never cut towards your thumb. Always cut towards your chum. You can always get another chum. You'll never get another thumb.
So can you see it, over?
Out of the gloom, the wreck comes into view. The Dunraven is lying upside down on the reef at an angle. The forward side of her hull is badly damaged, and she's split at midships right by her engine room. The plan is to go inside the ship via the bow.
I've got eyes on the entrance, over.
Which is actually really exciting to see. Because we don't have many of these in the UK.
We start to make our way up into the ship. Being a tight space, there's no room for turning back.
We're actually inside the hull of the ship now. And as it's turned over, I can see the massive boiler. And we now know this is one of the first ships that combined steam and sail power. I'm just coming through this hole now.
While we're inside the wreck, we'll have no direct comms with Neil.
So that's our divers there now. That set of bubbles is Ross, Mark and Mallory, and they're working their way through the wreck. They can talk to each other, but we can't hear them up here for that particular phase of the dive. It always makes me slightly nervous when I can't hear the divers, and that's a byproduct of being inside the wreck.
We're going into the bottom of the ship now. Right at the bottom here. And there is a way out, I can see.
Although her cargo is long gone, some of the mechanical structures that help power her through the water are beautifully preserved.
This is the prop shaft here. An iron belt.
It's amazing how well this iron survived in many ways.
After 150 years on the seabed, the Dunraven has been transformed into something magical.
Just an amazing experience to see something this old that hasn't been salvaged, that's been left where it is, and it's now home to all these fish and this coral. Maybe not what it was designed for, but what a happy ending for a piece of history.
As I leave the wreck, we're still no closer to solving the mystery of why she's upside down. We'll need to take our findings and observations to the surface to see whether we can work it out from there.
Perfect. Nice one, buddy. You good?
Amazing dive. There are not many places in the world that you can see that kind of thing, because ships of that age that sank at that time were salvaged for their iron. So it's a real piece of history.
Later that day, after Mallory and I have had a chance to review some of the footage, we meet to discuss what could have happened to the SS Dunraven on the night of the 22nd of April, 1876.
So it's pretty amazing, wasn't it?
You look like you really enjoyed yourself.
I did actually. I really did. And I mean, I have dived in warm waters, but not for a long, long time. And you just forget the visibility makes such a difference. So how long is it up on the reef for?
It started around 3 a.m. About 40 minutes later, they were in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. And they're trying to get it back off the reef. So it's a crew of what?
25.
Right, 25 people trying to push 80 meters
And
of
they're putting
steel.
up all the sails they've got, because it's a two-masted schooner.
So they're trying to face the sails into the wind. They've got the prop in reverse.
Yeah.
Logically, the wind would have been behind them, or they would have been tacking, because that's to their advantage if they're using the sails. So if they want to go in the reverse direction to pull themselves off the reef, they would have had to drop all the sails, fire up the engines, and it's all time-consuming stuff.
Yeah.
Whilst water's flooding the holes.
Yeah.
So eventually, after 17 or so hours, and it must be daylight by then, they've got it off the reef, but then what?
Well, she starts to take on water extremely quickly.
Yeah.
And they see her capsize.
Despite modern technology, it's still an issue that plagues shipping in Suez today.
Just an example of how treacherous the reefs are. Even with local knowledge, that fishing boat has been stuck on the reef for 4 weeks.
But the danger for ships like these and the Dunraven is not actually when they hit the reef, it's when they finally manage to get themselves off.
That's what kills a lot of ships. They go up on the reef, hold the hull, and whilst they're stuck on the reef, they're actually quite safe because they're physically resting on it.
Because actually it's stopping the water.
Exactly, yeah.
Water pressure from coming in, because the reef's relatively soft, so it works like a plug.
Yeah,
Right.
you've got it.
Then they pull it off.
Taking the plug out.
Pop.
Yeah, that's what kills a lot of these ships.
And that is why the Dunraven is upside down. Badly damaged by the reef, the water rushed in and flipped the whole vessel. Thankfully, all 25 of her crew survived, and Captain Care also escaped relatively unscathed.
And what happened to him?
He was brought up on charges. He lost his license for 12 months, but then he went back to being a captain. He had a very
24?
Yep. And he had a very successful career for the rest of his life. So it's just one of those things you have to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, don't wreck a ship full of booty.
It's been a stunning introduction to the wrecks of the Red Sea, and extraordinary to think of the reach of British imperial influence during the 19th century. It's also brought me a bit closer to my own ancestors, who sailed and protected these waters some 80 years ago. Next time, this incredibly important trade route becomes a vital supply line for British troops in World War II, where the threat to ships is from the skies, not the sea.
Wow, this is a shipwreck. A proper shipwreck.
And I push myself to the limit on my deepest ever dive.
It's incredibly tight, all the kit that I'm wearing.
And solve the mystery behind the German wartime strategy.
This is where the German bomb hit the ship.